I'm Kat.
And I'm Kat.
No.
Yep.
Gabe.
No, I'm Kat now. As well. In addition.
So we're both me?
Yep. I just love what you got going on now. I want it. I want a piece of that pie.
Alright, so I'll give you some of my illnesses.
Okay. Yeah, I got narcolepsy.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry.
I've got asthma.
I have lots of
My knees
medicines.
don't work.
I guess I'll share.
Yay.
We'll live half as long.
Oh. Well, I
Because of
promise
sharing.
not to kill any of the animals.
Okay, good. Please don't kill any of our cats.
Hey listener, this is our 42nd episode, and
Holy crap.
It is for our New Year, New You, and we're talking about envious imposters. We're talking about single white females. We're talking about in relationship brown females who are trying to they're in relationship white female friends.
Yes.
Have you
Seeking same.
Yeah, seeking same-ish. Same adjacent. Same around. Listener, have you ever just wanted to be a different person? Maybe a very specific person whose life you so desire you'll do anything to get it.
Personally, no.
Even give yourself a terrible 90s haircut just to replicate them?
I don't know about that. I feel like that's the line.
That's what you got.
That's the
It's
line.
that haircut that she had to get.
Haircut. Ooh. Murder? That's fine. Haircut? Nah.
It's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta prioritize.
Exactly.
What's important to you?
Yeah, it's, at that point
Human
you're like,
life?
you know what?
Hair? Very.
Was she really cool? Yeah, but she also had that awful haircut.
That's fair. We have opinions about it. We're the ghouls next door.
Yeah.
I'm Gabe.
Oh no. Last week we had talked about social media and the harm that comes from envying and aspiring lives based purely on the impression of what you're seeing online. But this week we're talking about a much more toxic version of this, in which you're not just replicating a person's social media presence, but instead their entire life. And it's because you care about them. Because you
Yeah, that sounds...
love them a bunch.
That sounds like what you do. No, I mean, I guess it's like, it's definitely a lot worse because you're not taking someone's fake life. You're taking on their real life.
Yeah.
And trying to just be like, oh no, I'm this person now. Because I love them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to be them and only have them.
Ooh.
Creepy voice.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, do you remember in high school or grade school when your friend would cut her bangs and you think, oh my gosh, we have to match. She looks so great. Of course that will look great on me as well. We have the same soul, so we may as well have the same face. And then
Can't say. I've experienced that, but continue.
You definitely did. And then, well, you forgot that while your friend has nice, cooperative, straight hair, and you have gnarly, uncooperative curls that most certainly disagree with being cut into bang form, at least the same way as someone with straight hair, and you come out looking stupid for an entire year while it grows out. You ever do that?
No.
What? You never wanted to look like your best friend?
Nah. I feel like probably a little bit, because like I had friends who were pretty times.
Yeah.
And I like wanted to be like pretty times, so I'd probably like dress kind of more similar. I was more like heady probably as a small child. It's okay. Yeah. I didn't murder anything or any
That's
like
good.
creatures or people.
Good start.
But I definitely get that like whole envy thing of like, my friend has this, and they look so great with this. Boys like them, or like, you know, people like them. And they don't like me for some reason. So I'm just going to do all the same stuff. I definitely feel that. But I definitely, I don't know. I've never gone to the intense, extreme version of that, which is like trying to take someone else's life. Yeah. Bangs were usually, as an adult person, a choice. But as a young person, it was my mom cut my hair for me because she didn't want to go to Supercuts. She did it herself for free, and it always looked very awful.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that in grade school, but then also in high school, it was reversed because I cut my bangs and I actually straightened my hair every day, and it was the worst. And my friend tried to replicate and cut hers, and it was a bad time. And
Yeah.
right now, I'm considering getting bangs, so that means you can't do it.
I mean,
I'm not doing it to
that's...
replicate anyone, but it's my thing now, so you gotta.
I can't replicate it.
Yeah.
I had a funny moment the other day where I was like at the hair dye section of the store.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I can't get like purplish red because that's Gabe's color. And we can't have the same hair color at the same time because it'd be weird.
Yeah.
It would look like we're trying to be the same. We already accidentally talk in unison enough that like...
It's creepy.
There's just like one step further that would make it significantly more creepy than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like the hair color is that line currently.
Yeah.
Flesh style.
I did the same thing because I was trying to buy, I was thinking about buying hair dye, and I was like, I can't do this dark blue because that's what Cat's doing.
Yeah.
So I just had that same situation.
Yeah, it was literally like 3 days ago. So I'm happy that we are the same human, but we maintain different physical forms.
That's good. That's the important part.
I feel like that's the key. That's how we maintain non-codependence. Is we respect each other's styles and let them be. Except for when we wear the same clothes because those are fun.
But we do that on purpose.
Yeah, that's just to be creepy, and that's because we acknowledge that it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Your facts. Still facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff.
So, next month we're going to be addressing this idea of the obsessive lover dynamic in films for both the stalker man and the stalker woman.
Because both can be.
Yes. Equality.
Yeah.
But today we're talking more about the idea of not wanting so desperately to be with someone, but rather to be someone. Which also in these two films did have some underlying sexual things happening. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that was more of like a residual thing of like wanting that connection. I do not feel like it was the cause.
I would agree.
And the driving factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the films we're going to talk about unfortunately only further perpetuate the idea that this idea of girlfriends being toxic, like how there's so many girls out there like, I don't have girlfriends because they're needy and they gossip and they're crazy and drama. Yeah. And I only have guy friends because they're so level-headed. Like, okay, what guy do you have?
Yeah, tell me about it, please.
Or better still, in one of these films, having a gay male friend instead. Yeah. So I found a quote on a blog by Matt Bramer where he is talking about Single White Female, the film, which is what we're going to talk about. But this is also a Urban Dictionary term for someone who's just like crazy in a relationship.
Yeah. Like
someone who's obsessed with you is a single white female, kind of. Like you're single white femaling. But what he says is, in Single White Female, being fixated with a person's look, behavior, and personality represents a represents a fetishization of that person as a whole. It's a female-driven fatal attraction in which physical transformation not only overcomes sexual gratification, it completely replaces it. He talks about how it's transformative from the usual take on fatal attraction, and that Heidi is someone who cannot be with Allie, like not have lesbian desire or sex with her, so she gets off by pretending to be Allie. Yeah. He had said she can't have sex with Allie, but she can have sex as Allie, which is where the power comes from. Yeah. I definitely felt that when we were watching it, that she's definitely, there was a mix of like envy for her, but also pity for both of our main characters. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's not so much like your life is the best. It's that your life is really good and you're not doing the best at it.
Yeah, it's like all this stuff could be so easy for you, but you're not living up to your full, like, I guess, like, advantage that you
Yeah.
clearly have. And I could do that so much better if I was just you in the wheel,
Yeah.
behind the wheel.
Yeah. Like, you need so much protecting that you just need someone else to be you.
Yeah.
And, like, do
Why
it
do you
better.
even want to exist? It's fine. You just don't exist. I need to be you so that
Yeah.
you don't mess up this perfect life that you have.
Yeah, but it's definitely this like obsession of I think that's the big difference is this idea that it's not that you want to be with this person, because she does, like, both the characters do want to be with that person and want to be their friend, and very much like are codependent and very reliant on this person, needs that person to like approve of them and love them unconditionally. But then it transforms at some point into like wanting to be them, which I think is different and kind of more dangerous.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, for one person to be another person, the original person cannot exist.
Yeah, we can't both be that.
Yeah. And I guess, like, it ties back to just, like, not having a sense of self or, like, self-identity, that, like, it's better to just drop whatever your perceived version of yourself was and just be this person.
Yeah.
Because that time was bad, and now you have this new opportunity in this person that you found to, you know, take over their lives and just ruin your old past life and take on this nice new one.
Yeah, there's definitely a
New year, new you.
yeah. A sociopathic kind of tendency in it, and that you are so unattached to who you are fundamentally and so manipulative that you can like drop everything that you are and become this other person.
Yeah.
And like fixing them, because I think that's what's really important too, is like they don't think that they're perfect. Like what we'll talk about when we talk about these films, like
I agree.
Heidi was definitely like, you're one of the most weak women I've ever met, yet she's like being her.
Yeah.
And being a more powerful version of her, like going to an S&M club, which Allie would never be caught dead in.
Yeah.
Like, she was being a powerful version of what Allie could have been.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree that it's just like, I thought it was really interesting that they didn't see them as like these perfect people who, like, they wanted their life so bad because it was perfect. They wanted it because, I guess, like, of the obsession end, but they saw their flaws.
Yeah.
And saw, like, I guess it's like they're the same, but also like yin and yang, kind of like we complete each other.
Yeah.
Kind of creepiness that was like, I can be you, but better because I am like made to be you.
Yeah.
We're made of the same thing, but I am the better
That's crazy.
version. Yeah. It's definitely not a great time.
No. And I think one of the biggest problems with the protagonist in both the films that we're going to talk about, Allie and Sarah, are that they are too nice.
Yeah.
That they are completely reliant on being non-confrontational, to the point where there are some really obvious red flags and like clear just like warning signs that are like, this person is not well, and that like they could be actively helping them and contributing to them getting well, but instead they just keep, you know, going along with it and not wanting to poke this bear, and that's what ends up, you know, being so detrimental in the end. Were this a different personality type, I don't think that would happen, but I also don't think that they would have been targeted.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like it's definitely their personality that kind of not allowed for this kind of behavior, but like sort of, I don't know, like that made it attractive to somebody who would be doing things like this.
Yeah. Well, because it's like so women are oftentimes like, you know, influenced to be polite.
Yeah.
Like not, you know, speaking up as often, trying to be delicate, trying to be soft. And these two women were exceptionally that. And I don't think that's a problem. Like, I don't think that it's awful that they're nice. I just think the problem arises from like them not feeling like they could say anything, and also like being continuously gaslit by these people as well. Like, you're crazy. What do you mean? I just happen to buy I like the style you have, so I'm wearing the clothes that you have.
Yeah.
Or I really love your hairstyle, even though it's absolutely absurd. Let me just replicate
It
it.
looks so great on me.
It honestly looked way better on on her.
It was interesting. I didn't understand why, but yeah, it definitely had a different element to it.
Yeah, it was,
I don't know. It's tough because I feel like women are taught two things that totally contradict each other. One, that speaking up and being aggressive will be the result of that will be being attacked or killed.
yeah.
But that also inversely that doing all of the opposite things, not being confrontational and being too nice, can also get you killed or
Yeah.
like be attempted to be killed and stuff like that. Like it's like how do you be?
Yeah.
Which way?
How are we?
Which way do we do? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like definitely confrontation is something women are taught not to do because you could get murdered because of it. And also, non-confrontation is also terrible because then you enable bad behaviors that result into like abusive relationships
Yeah.
that could also end up with you dying or your pets or like people you care about because of inaction, essentially.
Yeah, and I think it's all what this really boils down to is all how to interact with someone who might have certain disorders and certain
Yeah.
things that manifest in certain ways. And this isn't to say that like anyone who has these is immediately that crazy psycho person who's trying to take over your life, but
Yeah.
that this would explain why those people were that way, and that the real trauma and terrible things that came from this is that people did not get them the help that they should have had. It should never have gotten this far, like even in the film. That clearly there are signs, clearly people are out there who care about them, but just not enough to do anything.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I don't know, I guess in general, like how mental disorders are portrayed on screen
Yeah.
and how usually there's like a blanket, oh, this is schizophrenia or bipolar, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that explains it. That's totally why they went around murdering people. It's like, no, that's not. There are plenty of high functioning regular people who have mental illness associated with who they are, and the difference is they actively work on it or like have people who actively take a part in helping them make sure that, you know, they're okay and they're making sure and in themselves that they're okay and are like taking active steps to better themselves and make sure that they're not in a terrible place
Yeah.
where they feel the need to have destructive behavior. But we read some things.
Yep.
Basically that the character Hetty could have been diagnosed with borderline antisocial personality disorders.
Yeah.
But that she seems able to like care about others, but only in how like they benefit or serve her needs.
Yeah.
So kind of like sociopathic behavior mixed with like caring,
but with
also,
the motive of
it's like selfish and it's like motivation. And that the only reason that like she isn't able to manage this in a regular way is because she's experienced a lot of trauma, and that like as you said, people haven't like taken the steps needed to help her get the help that she needs. They kind of just are like, oh, she's crazy, hopefully nothing else happens, and like just send her away, or she runs away
that she'll be fine.
Yeah, and I guess that's just like kind of a misunderstanding in that like they just can't picture how all of that would work, or they just maybe honestly in traumatic life situations don't care enough to get her the help that she needs. They just want an easy child, and that's not what they got, and it's messed up and it's awful because when a lot of times I feel like people won't admit that there's a problem because they want something easier when they're doing more of a disservice to like their child because they're not getting them the help that they need. But as you said, like it causes the gaslight effect where it's a lot of manipulative behavior, and basically there's a book by Robert Stern, basically The Gaslight Effect: How to Spot and Survive the Hidden Manipulation of Others Used to Control Your Life. And it explains that a person on the receiving end of this behavior is meant to doubt his or her perception of reality if it differs from that person in power. So as you were seeing throughout the film of her being like, oh, it's because of this, or, you should let me know you're getting home safe because I was worried and that upset the dog.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, where you're seeing all of
Absolutely.
these like troubling behaviors and you're gaslit into like being like, no,
Maybe I'm
I'm the
overreacting.
problem.
Yeah.
It's not them. They're not acting toxically or like destructively towards me. I'm the problem. I should have thought.
Yeah.
Or like decrease the chance of confrontation. But they do this to maintain control of the people, and with the personality disorder need to make other people in their lives wrong, so like that they feel like they have wronged them and need to make up for it by continuing to allow the behavior,
Yep.
essentially. And honestly, that's really stressful to me because I definitely feel like I would be more susceptible to being subjected to that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
question my reality all the time. And someone being like, no, it was you. And I'd be like, oh, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I say I enjoy that it's become more of a it's a term that people are using more and becoming more aware that is a thing that's happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's very prominent in relationships where one person is cheating
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you're like, okay, I'm seeing all these signs that you're cheating on me, and then they're like, no, you're acting crazy. And that
Mm-hmm.
turn in manipulation really makes you just like, oh, maybe I'm paranoid, maybe I'm just envious, or I don't
Yeah.
trust them, this is something about me. Which
And then when
doesn't
you find out like you're right, and then you're just like, well, now I'm just extra paranoid all the time.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I am acting irrationally. I've been traumatized by this event, and I'm
Yeah.
going to act out in my next relationship because I am traumatized by this and I no longer trust people.
Yeah,
So, like,
absolutely.
It creates something that's like, well, first you're being logical and nice and like actually just concerned and be like, hey, I think you're doing these things, and then you're made to think you're wrong, and then you're confirmed that you're right, and then in the next one you could be totally wrong, and you just don't see that because you were
Well,
tortured
because
emotionally.
your foundation, like your reality, was completely shaken by that person who's
Yeah.
telling you that you're wrong and you have to rethink everything. And that definitely is very clear in these situations
Mhm.
where when there were those flags, they very easily were convinced that it was nothing at all and that it's really their fault because of just how manipulative these people are. And that's what some, personality disorders can do, because
Yeah.
you're able to like kind of disassociate from like being like empathetic towards another person. So it makes you
Yeah.
much more easier to manipulate.
Yeah, you no longer see people as people. You kind of see them as tools
Yeah.
in your life to like serve your happiness. But in a lot of ways, like you cannot control your own happiness
Yeah.
and don't feel happy. So that's why these things are happening. Yeah, it's just fascinating.
Yeah,
Honestly.
absolutely.
And I guess I just really don't enjoy that there's always just like this blanket diagnosis of like bipolar or schizophrenia when it's usually other things, or there's just you don't know. You're not a doctor.
Yeah.
Stop WebMDing
Yeah.
this person's like problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's like a popular podcast that everyone should stop listening to where he essentially, the host, will label anyone who has a mental disorder as being crazy and like essentially says that they're a ticking time bomb. That if
Oh,
you
that's
have
great.
like bipolar disorder, then you're guaranteed to at some point snap. And it's like, that's absolutely insane, because there are a lot of people who have bipolar disorder or schizophrenia who aren't going around killing people. And the people
Yeah.
who do kill people, like not all of them are bipolar or have schizophrenia. Some of them are
Yeah.
just normal people who are sociopaths.
And it's just like, yeah, I know so many bipolar people who just have like regular lives.
Yeah.
And like the only difference is that they see therapists,
Yep.
as everyone probably should, because we're all a little needing to talk to people. And
Absolutely.
like it's wild to me that like there's such this stigma or like this idea that I guess like if you are bipolar or you have some sort of mental illness, like you're just gonna go murder people. It's like, no, it's not that intense.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, I take medication.
Yeah. Sometimes
probably.
I
Or,
binge
like,
on food and things I
Yeah.
don't need because I get really excited.
Yeah, or it's just like I am a little more prone to stress or like feel more depressed or like,
Yeah.
it's just like harder to
I can't
control
sleep.
the range of emotions. That doesn't mean you're gonna go freaking kill people. Like that's not how it
Yeah.
works. I know plenty of people who just go to work and come
Live normal
home
lives,
and
yeah.
read books or like honestly have a deeper understanding of what life is.
Yeah.
Emotional depth.
Because they also respect it a lot more because it's more work.
Yeah, and it's just like emotions are hard and I actively have to work on mine. So now I'm very empathetic and aware that other people have issues. And I
Yes.
see like the world in a deeper context where I'm not like that person sucks. It's like, no, I wonder what they're going through because not everyone knows.
Yeah, and you are more deliberate because you know what it feels like to not be heard and to not get noticed. So if you're someone who's struggled with something like that, like I know people who have schizophrenia, and they're just aware of like their feelings and what they're thinking. And if you're second guessing like what they're doing, odds are they also are too, because that's
Yeah.
what they're trained to do. And so with this, it's like I think honestly the real villain in these films isn't, I mean, yeah, they're the villain because they end up like killing people or hurting people drastically, but the villain really is the people that are around them who didn't help them, who did not get them the help that they needed. Like
Yeah.
it eventually, like I'm not saying, oh, this is a catch all, so they're exempt because they also could have been helping themselves, but there's ample opportunities from like the parents
Who've
or
been sending her
even
checks.
this so-called friend that this main character is supposed to be, who isn't like, this isn't right, maybe we should actually get you some help and talk to you.
No, I'm just gonna talk to all my friends about how I kind of want you just out of my house and out of my
Yeah,
life.
but I'm gonna manipulate you back and say it differently.
Yeah, and it's just like that whole like, oh, it's not you, it's just this. It's like you're not helping that person. You're not helping them.
They should
grow.
know that it was them.
Like they did something that upset you, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just
Especially if you're
ridiculous. You're
someone
just enabling behavior that like isn't okay, and it's not anyone's job to fix somebody if they don't want
No.
to fix themselves. But at the same time, there has to be like accountability for the
Yeah.
fact that like, hey, you're clearly not cool, man.
Yeah.
What can I do to help? And it's not even a judgment thing. It's just like, I care and you seem to be struggling.
Yeah.
What can I do to be there for you in a non-toxic and like codependent way?
Yeah. With this envious imposter and this need, I think it's a really more of a bigger conversation about mental illness and the stigmas that are around it and how we are portraying them, and therefore, further perpetuating this idea that like those people need to be demonized and not given the help that they need.
Yeah, and I guess like it's also just like these are grown adults.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Like I know like when I was like younger or like you're a kid, you're less likely to like want to have confrontation and like you make mistakes. But like grown
You're a grown
adults
woman
who like can't be like, hey, I thought it was a little weird when like you freaked out about me coming home late. Like I really care about you, but it's not, I don't have to let you know where I am all the time because like we're not that kind of friend. You're my roommate and I care about you and I want to know you're safe and I'll do my best to let you know when I'm safe. But like it was kind of weird when you freaked out on me about that.
Yeah. And even from the point of view of the person who freaks out, it would also be more positive for that person to talk about it and be like, I'm sorry that I freaked out on you. And the reason why was because I'm terrified. When you leave, I feel abandoned. And that's beginning that conversation. Because to me, it's like, I also understand from her point of view.
The thing that I was thinking where I was like, yes, no, because it's like helping that person understand why they feel the things that they do instead of just like yelling at them for feeling things.
Yes.
Because it's like you're totally valid in feeling the way that you do. Let's figure out why you feel the way you do because I feel like it's not entirely personal about me. I feel like it's
this sounds like more
than just like you're upset that I came home late.
Yeah.
I care enough to ask you
why you
might care this much about me coming home late. Because it's clearly not just because of this one instance. There's something else happening. Let's talk about it. Let's be open about our emotions. Sometimes uncomfortable conversations are necessary in life.
Yeah.
It's wild. Being a human and an adult person. Crazy.
Yeah. And I remember what I was going to say before. And it was essentially like, if someone has borderline like sociopathic tendencies or ideas, then they probably don't have a full like grasp on like human emotion and like the proper reaction to things as well. It's kind of like on the spectrum where it's just like you don't always know that this is the proper way to react. So the only way they're going to learn that is if you're talking to them. So when you come home and they freak out because they're like, where have you been? Being like, not saying like, oh, I guess they're right. And also not saying like, hey, what the fuck? Like, how dare you? Like, not having that, but being like, hey, that was a little weird. And this is why. Like, I don't, like, we probably come from two different worlds. So I don't know how it works where you're from. But where I do is that's not really cool. But why did you need to know where I was? Yeah. You know, like, what can I do to make you feel more comfortable, but also within my range of comfort?
Yeah. It's very real. And it's just, there's so much happening in that film. And I definitely think the first one did better than the second in terms of like, and it was weird because the first one was significantly older, but the main character, as much as she did like not talk to her about the problems, actively like had moments where she was like, maybe we can get her help.
Yes.
And like wasn't
and
trying
called
to
her parents. Like,
like wasn't just demonizing her and like be like, oh, she's crazy. It was, she had moments where she was like, I can call her family and ask like advice on how to like help her or like try to figure out what's happening, not by directly talking to her, which is clearly something that should have happened, but like in a more sympathetic and empathetic way than was seen in the second movie.
Yeah.
But where, like, it seemed like this lady's crazy. She tries to touch mine, I'm gonna kill her. Like, that's kind of like the vibe I got from the second one. And I just didn't enjoy it. Like, they found out she might be bipolar, and it was like, oh yeah, murder.
Yeah.
That's probably the inevitable course that's going to happen now. And it was just, I did not like the second movie.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about those films.
Films. We watched some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff.
All right, so as we've expressed, we have watched two films, which are essentially the same film based on a book. So the first film we're talking about is Single White Female from 1992, which is based on a book of the same name, but it's SWF, Single White Female, Seeks Same.
So racism.
Yeah, which I will talk about. But essentially what this movie is about is that a woman advertising for a new roommate finds that something very strange is going on with a tenant who decides to move in. It's directed by Babet Schroeder, so yay, lady director.
Yeah.
Her and her cinematographer were very well known for films and media and content that were either feminist or pro like LGBTQ. Mm-hmm. So in some ways that's, you can really see that.
Yeah.
In other ways there were some problems I had. But again, it was also in the 90s, so we didn't have fourth wave feminism.
Different lens of feminism, I guess, than exists now.
Yeah. So one thing I was thinking when I thought of the SWF Seek Same is like, why couldn't it just be single female Seek Same? That's where I found it that's like so blatantly racist. Why is that there?
It definitely is. And I guess maybe because it's the 90s, people were like, all right.
Yeah.
But like also
that it was allowed. But
and I guess it does set up as like we've talked about in our own personal conversations, the dynamic that like, if this was between two different races, this wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. If she hadn't been racist, this film would have been different, because there's no way that like if her roommate was a black girl, could have walked around pretending to be Allie to the same degree that Jennifer Jason Leigh can. So there's that. But it's also just like, I just thought it was strange.
Let's not use racism
why
for the
it's
purpose
there.
of plot.
Yeah. I get it. Like, but if it had been like, oh, she just happened to get a white roommate, but I think it's super bizarre that she requested that. Why?
You could have done it without requesting it. 100%.
Why?
You're 100%
It just single
right.
female.
It could have been like,
same.
oh, hey, a bunch of different women have come through and this one seems nice.
Yeah.
She just happens to also be a white lady.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But seeking it out, it seems like I would have showed up. And here's the thing. Here's a fun fact about this film. Apparently, and according to IMDb, so it could possibly be a lie, I don't know. But IMDb says that Whoopi Goldberg actually auditioned for the role of Allison Jones.
Huh.
Imagine the film had it been Whoopi Goldberg. Not just because of who Whoopi Goldberg is, but as if a strong black woman is now this, like, protagonist. One, we would not have Jennifer Jason Leigh. Two, it would not be called Single White Female. We would have fixed it. It would have been called Single Female Seek Same. Which would have been fine. Although it does also sound like a lesbian a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the vibe that I think they were trying to put out there. Because all the girls kind of seemed, like the ones who come through, kind of seem a little interested in Allison.
Yeah.
And then you also have eventually when Heidi moves in, that she's always stripping in front of her. She's always kind of like watching her. She's very clearly attracted to her, but I really think it was I don't know. It didn't feel like lesbian in nature to me. It was more just like, this person is sexy. I'm comfortable with them. I want to be them. And in that she was finding her own sexuality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
There was also this element that was like, felt very like high school-y, even though they were grown adults. Mm-hmm. In that, like, their bonding moments were like, I don't know, it just felt very
watching
like campy.
TV together. And
I was like, you're grown people. I feel like you would bond in different ways. I don't know.
We're adults. We bond.
never had situations where I was like, I'm just going to take off my shirt in front of you and then steal your perfume. That's not a bonding moment we've had, Gabe. We watch movies where people get murdered and then talk about trauma and, like, nerd stuff. That's how we became friends. There's never been montages of bathing puppies and
we have bathed
stripping,
our cats though.
But like that's more so cursing and crying because they've clawed our arms to death.
Yeah, but it's still bonding.
I know, but it's not a cute little montage.
What about all those times that I've watched you from afar as you showered?
That'd be really weird. And I would move out immediately despite all this years of effort. Because it's weird.
You wouldn't talk to me? We just talked about this.
I guess I would talk to you. I would be very upset. I would have to talk to a lot of people in our immediate circles to be like, hey, this is strange, right? Guys, help me have this conversation.
Absolutely. So this film is starring one of our favorite actresses slowly. She's becoming that. Is Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
Who... Yeah, she's just like everywhere with horror in the 90s.
Yeah, and I totally didn't know that until we watched a lot of horror from the 90s. And we're like, oh, wow, we were alive then. But we were not paying attention.
Pop up. If anything, I just kind of want to watch a bunch of her movies now. I just want to do an episode on her. Like, what's her deal? What's her sitch? Now she's on Atypical. What's up?
Yeah, what's she doing?
I think she does really great. And considering she took that leap of that terrible haircut, guys, just Google the picture. But she gets a haircut and she looks great.
Yeah, it's very interesting, like the diversity of like her looks that she has, both in like this movie and other movies.
Yeah,
where like she can be the hot friend, she can be the weird looking girl, she can be the badass from the kicking ass taking names time thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she can do all of it.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
She's
the everything woman.
Hey, Jennifer, we love you.
I have a new tagline for your existence.
The everything woman.
Yeah.
Come back. Do more Atypical. We want you up there on a big screen.
Yeah.
We'll make you a star. again.
I think she already is. I don't know. People know
Yeah.
her name probably.
If you guys know her, we want to meet her. We love her.
I hope she hasn't done anything offensive.
This was a great film. So the film starts where Allie is in a relationship. She is engaged to this gentleman, and then it comes through that he has cheated on her with his ex-wife because of a voice message, which is because it's the 90s.
And
so
you have
it
a
played
voicemail box.
out loud.
Beep.
And then he
Jason.
eventually like gaslights her himself, like,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
But she
nothing.
completely dismisses him and kicks him out, and then she's single white female all of a sudden looking for a new partner to live in her rent controlled apartment.
Because New York City.
It's a nice area, but there's
What
apparently
is this,
like
Friends?
there's only like 4 people who friggin' live here. No one, like, there's shooting, there's screaming, there's just like hysteria, and like only
They care
once.
a lot about the music, but
Yeah,
not
that was
about
the one
gunshots.
time. The one time was because there was a rock music video loud. But when there's literally gunshots and screaming, no one's
Nothing.
home.
Who's that? It's fine.
Oh, just 42B again. Shooting
Probably
each
listening
other.
to another rock video.
Call the police. Yeah, so she does that. So what I thought was interesting was, like, spoiler alert, but it was 92, so whatever. He,
Catch up.
yeah, like us. He ends up dying, which is pretty, honestly, a badass way. He gets a healed shoe to the eye.
Yeah, after receiving a blowjob. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't know, man. From someone you didn't want one from. It was really stressful.
Yeah, it was essentially he was raped. But it's the 90s, so they wouldn't refer to it as that.
They still don't.
Yeah. But even more so then.
Yeah.
But I had a really, really, really hard time believing him or caring because we started
he was
out hating
shitty.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really care as strongly. I did care about, like, her gay friend because he
Yeah.
was very nice. And he was trying. He was like, no, we need to get this girl help. He was calling therapists for her.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get her direct help. It was mostly because he cares about Allie, but he also understood that that's the way to do it. He wasn't calling the police.
Oh, yeah. Like, he was being a good guy. Just, like, and, like, I don't even know. Like, during it, he wasn't trying to, like, kill her. Even
No.
though she had, like, brutally attacked him. He was trying to stop her
Yeah,
from, like, killing his friend.
exactly. Yeah, he was really good. I liked him as a character. I did not like Allie for multitude of ways. There was a really, really uncomfortable scene that I'm very thankful that we didn't get as uncomfortable in the sequel, essentially, or the remake with Roommate, in that she has this like boss or like client or something,
Yeah.
and he's super creepy and gross, and there's so many times where you're saying things and you're just like cringe, and then it
It's the
just
90s cringe more.
yeah, because there's no it's the worst. But like, he essentially tries to give her a massage, and then he's like trying to kiss her. Oh, it was so awful. And she's clear like, no.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to get her wine. Oh, it was so uncomfortable. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And then she just like kicks him and runs out. He did well. He protected her. It's like, give her money or you're gonna hear it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really traumatizing scene for me. I was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was really gross and just like awful. And I definitely agree in the new version, The Roommate, they did a less stressful job. In that it was just her professor who like pecked her, which is also terrible, but it was less skeevy and cringy.
Yeah.
And then he didn't like keep going after her
Yeah.
after she left. He just like kept hitting on other freshmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good, and I did enjoy it more than The Roommate. I just felt like it was forever. It was only an hour and a half, but it felt like forever.
It felt like a very long movie, but I definitely enjoyed it more than its newer counterpart. For like a variety of reasons. I just felt like Hetty was a more interesting character. They made her more sympathetic than they did
Rebecca
and The Roommate. And they definitely just like, it was it was well done. It was more interesting. The characters had depth, even though they were the worst.
Yeah. Her snap made more sense. Like, if anything, it was. She seemed very, very harmless. Like, her escalation seemed almost like instant because the other things just seemed very small.
She's very triggered.
Yeah. Like, the other things that, like, it just felt like, honestly, if Allie didn't care, then Heidi would have just, like, dressed like her and lived her life and did that, but it would have just been like, that's who she is now.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
All that other stuff happened because she felt threatened. Whereas with Rebecca, she's just, like, lashing out all the time.
Yeah.
So the other one, the one we're referring to, is The Roommate, which is from 2011, and boy, does it show. It's a very 2011-y. There's a flip phone.
Yeah.
Classic. So this film is about when college freshman Sarah arrives on campus for the first time, she befriends her roommate, Rebecca, unaware that the girl is becoming dangerously obsessed with her. Also, it's directed by someone named Christian E. Christensen.
Interesting.
Yeah, Christian Christensen. For real.
Yeah, I just think it didn't... It played a lot on, like, women being shitty. Like, it felt very much that. Whereas, like, you had the slutty friend, and then who wasn't, like, being a good friend, and then there was, like... All the women used their bodies to, like, get things.
Yeah.
Throughout the film, and it was just like, I don't know, I guess it was very 2011, but I didn't feel like the characters had enough depth. I didn't really care about them. There was like this boyfriend who, spoilers, dies, and you don't even care because you didn't know him.
Yeah,
you didn't hate him either. Like, you didn't know anything.
He just wasn't
bad
there.
about him.
That I will say that it didn't take any risks. No one important died. There was people who were in jeopardy, but as far like in Single White Female 1, a dog dies, and you see that. Like, you don't see the action, but you saw that it was dead. And, like, the boyfriend dies, the best friend is, like, attacked. Like, there's very clear danger. Like, she is tied up. The girl's insane, is, like, threatening her life, and you feel that. It feels very real. With this, it definitely felt like a teenager who's having a mental breakdown. She kills this boyfriend that we only see once. We literally see him and then he's killed.
Yeah, so like there was no period at which I cared about him or like just like knew enough.
Yeah,
to,
he
like,
was one line in the beginning.
Any sort of emotional connection. They murder a cat.
Yeah.
So
needlessly.
This movie.
Yeah.
Against it. Don't murder cats.
But it was also very needless because unlike
she's just saying she ran away.
Yeah, she
says
says
that
that
murder the cat then.
She could have just had it adopted because in Single White Female, there's a dog, and the story is that the dog had gotten out the window and fell off the emergency escape, so had,
the boyfriend
fell to its death.
Like, fixed the window.
But he didn't, and whose fault is it? Whatever. Well, with this, the girl just went to, like, the laundry room and then put a cat in the dryer. But that's, like, okay, that's messy, and people are going to see it, and you can't cover that up. 2, you just told her that the cat ran away. Like, I thought she was going to be like, I didn't realize that the cat was in my laundry, and then I put her in there, and now what the hell? Like, that, okay, that's a really far-fetched lie, and it's crazy, but that would be a good reason to do that. Otherwise, it's like, you could have just got rid of it.
Yeah, you could have just let it go, or put it up for adoption, or something that's not
literally gave it to someone.
And they had murdered the cat. That made me really sad.
Yeah, it was definitely a very, like, young person film version of it. The dorm that they're in is completely unrealistic. It was huge. And it was, like, gorgeous. Get out.
And everyone there is just like, oh my god, college. We're all pretty and beautiful.
They just
Look
get
at our
into
giant
stuff.
rooms.
Yeah. And, like, the best friend who's supposed to be positive, Ali Machalka, was, like, awful. So you don't feel bad for her. But she was awful on several levels. One, she was, like, supposed to be the slutty friend, which is not a problem. Like, you can be a slut if you want. But the problem was, like, her abandoning her friend when she had her stuff in her purse. Like, You left her with nothing. Second, you didn't say sorry. You tell her to get over it. She's also gaslighting her. And then third, when you're attacked by her crazy roommate, quote unquote, you don't tell her. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, your friend is sharing a space with this person who physically attacked you and ripped out your belly ring. I think that, one, you should call the authorities. Two,
it's
tell
like, guess
her.
what? She couldn't kill you if she's arrested for assault. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
No, that it seems. How do you explain that to anyone? No.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it was very like teen movie, trying to be deeper than it was. Really just being disrespectful in a lot of ways to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, her parents in this one were exceptionally bad because in the first one, Heidie's parents, she had run away. They were sending her checks, but they didn't know where she was. So at the very base, that you could say that they're sending these checks because they want her to be okay, but there's not much else they can do. So they're trying their best. And when they call, they are like, please come back. We want to help you. We want to make sure you're getting the help that you need.
Yeah.
Whereas with Rebecca and the roommate, her parents are, one, kind of afraid of her, but also totally unwilling to help her in any way. They're just like, has she been taking her meds? And when it's very clear that she has not, they're just like, nope, we don't talk about it. That's a stigma. We're a fancy rich family. We can't talk about those things.
Yeah.
And that's really the disservice. I think the parents are honestly big villains in this.
Yeah, and like you can like just clearly tell that they're not acknowledging that something's wrong while also like being like, she's taking them, right?
Yeah.
You know, like they just don't.
She said it almost like a jab. She almost said it like, oh, don't get so cozy up to Rebecca because she's crazy. Like, that's what it sounded like, where she was like, oh, I hope she's taking her medicine. It wasn't like, hey, how's my kid been doing? Like, is she all right? Like,
cool,
she's had an incident.
She kind of hasn't been.
Yeah, like, that's something you tell someone who's supposed to be like a confidant for your kid. You don't say, like, oh, has she been taking her medicine? Oh, no, never mind. We will not talk about it.
It's like, have you called your child at all?
Yeah, they didn't even know she was coming.
Yeah, no, it was wild.
For Thanksgiving.
It was definitely, like, felt like kind of like the neglectful rich families trope thing that happens where I can get why she was not happy.
And why she had this intense neediness. Like, this desire to have someone who wouldn't abandon her because clearly she's never known love, truly.
Yeah, and it's just like, there's no acknowledgement of, like, trying to help her, and it was definitely evident, but then also it was just like, there's so much violence, and then, like, murdery things happening that felt, like, kind of needless. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also, with Rebecca in reference to Heidie definitely was this nothing person, and then slowly was becoming a person while being with Allie. Whereas Rebecca was very clearly already a person. Like, she in the very beginning was like, yeah, she's like, my name is Rebecca. Don't call me anything else, right?
Yeah.
She says, I don't go to clubs. That's not my scene. She had a major. Like, she had goals and things. And so her turn into becoming Sarah doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, she didn't seem like she had, like, that insecurity or, like, or just, like, kind of, like, lack of sense of self, as you said. Like, she really was pretty steadfast in who she was.
Yeah.
Just, like, didn't want anyone else to touch her things.
Yeah. Why can't she be that?
It was weird.
Yeah.
And it was like, the whole trying to be her thing definitely just didn't make sense. Because she clearly wanted to be herself.
Yeah.
Didn't have any sort of, like, anxiety around being herself physically. So why was she trying to, like, physically mimic this other person? It didn't make sense. I can understand, like, trying to be, like, nicer like her. Like, emotionally trying to, like, fix it. Because she felt like her mind wasn't maybe what she wanted it to be. But yeah, it didn't make sense. I thought the film was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty 2011, and we're 3011.
2000 late.
Yeah, we're 3008. Yeah. I would recommend, if you're gonna watch one of those, Single White Female is all right. You don't need to though.
Yeah,
it's kind of coming away, and it's kind of dated. It's I don't think we need a new one. I think that tale is dumb. I think the moral's dumb. I think it needs a change. It needs to have a positive outcome. I just think that idea of like, she's a crazy bitch doesn't need to be told anymore.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, I guess where I'm at is you said that, and then I was like, there really wasn't a purpose.
No.
Who got something good out of that entire time or experience?
She didn't either.
No one did.
Yeah, even Heidi was struggling with that. Like, there was no winner.
Yeah.
There's no happiness.
There's no, like, positive thing that comes out of that. Or, like, life lesson, even. Other than, like, maybe help people when they need help.
Yep.
Or, like, just, like, be less non-confrontational. But those are, like, things that you could definitely get from different plots.
Yeah.
And just, like, be very much less disrespectful to people with mental illness in general.
Also, you can have any type of lady in your house coexisting with you of any color or background or sexual orientation. They're going to be wonderful. And you probably won't have this crazy case on your hands. And just be a nice person.
Yeah.
Feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, I said feelings. Let's talk about feelings. Okay. And all that spooky stuff. I love spooky stuff.
Okay, so if you like it, it's Heidi, which is from Single White Female, and it's Jennifer Jason Leigh, or Heart and Soul. Dear Lord, say Jennifer Jason Leigh. So if you like it, it's her. If you don't like it, it's Rebecca, because she did a bad job. She did a bad job, everything. The actress also just, like, I didn't feel her.
Yeah.
I didn't feel anyone in that at all.
The whole movie was bad. I like Bad Friend, though. She's good.
Allie?
She's good in other things.
Yeah, and other things. Even, like, Cam Gigandet. He's also played a crazy, obsessed lover, too, in his own right. Mm-hmm. So, he just was a boyfriend. He actually did pretty good. He did pretty well. He came in, he's like crazy, and he also fought back and do what to do. So he gets points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. So for this idea of a single white female, so this idea of like the crazy girl, how you feel?
I feel like all of it was bad, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I thought the movie itself was like entertaining and definitely called upon like the idea that like, yeah, you should try to help people and like talk about problems, and like I think it just did a better job in general than the other film. But in terms of like just the concept, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I think this idea of single white female, one, we don't need this phrase. Two, it just continually perpetuating this theme of like crazy person, and it's just negative. It doesn't help anyone. If anything, it causes more problems. People should learn to talk about things and understand that not everyone who has like any type of mental illness immediately means they're a ticking time bomb to hurt other people. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
And these films, whereas Single White Female was entertaining, and was kind of fun, and I enjoyed Jennifer Jason Leigh, and I she did a good job, but
good job.
It was like the overarching things just weren't super cool. Like even in Single White Female, what I thought was so crazy was this like negative connotation and demonization of female masturbation. It rhymed. But essentially, like in both films, the villains, Heidi and Rebecca, masturbate. Yeah. And with Heidi, it's hard to tell if it's because she's thinking of Allie or she's thinking of the fact that Allie had just had sex, like that they were close and there was people with connection having sex that she knew and felt connected to and therefore was turned on.
Yeah. Which is not that weird.
No. It's just, yeah, she feels something. That shows that she has emotion and can do that. The weird part came from Allie peeking at her and just being like kind of perplexed by it. And if anything, it was like, maybe she's the one who has issues that she's not addressing, or, you know, like,
Some
why are
sort
you
of, like,
looking at her?
Like, desire to
Yeah.
be near.
She was straight up creeping on her, and there was no need. That was absurd. Like, let your roommate go. It's really late. She
She's
does not know
allowed to
you're
masturbate.
alive, like that you're awake right now. Like, what are you doing? And then with Rebecca, she was masturbating while talking to the ex-boyfriend. So that was like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, was like that she had to be pretending to be Sarah and masturbating. So it was more overt, that whole idea of like, no, I can't have sex with that person, but I can have sex as that person trope.
Yeah.
But even then, it was like, why did that happen? That didn't, like, for the director's point of view, it's like, that didn't need to be there. Like, I understand, like, it made more sense with single white female.
Yeah, and it was just strange. I don't know. And also, it's just like the character in the Roommates movie, she was very openly, like, okay with, like, or, like, it seemed like it. Like, she was, like, she would flirt with people or, like, assert her sexuality, being herself.
Yes.
And, like, being confident in that. And that she knew that was something that she could use as a tool.
Because she, like, flirts with the teacher.
The teacher, and then also the woman's friend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And she's not pretending to be Sarah at that point. She's
she's just
Rebecca.
being her.
Whereas with Heidi being Allie, she had to be Allie to go out into the club and get attention.
Yeah.
So I feel like Roommate had watched Single White Female and thought, this makes more sense with all this, like, teenagery stuff to put it on actual teenagers, but then didn't actually sit there and listen and think about the film, which is probably because this is a man, named Christensen, who can't understand the complexities of, like, female relationships, female masturbation, and also, like, having, like, this complex mental disorder and trauma coupled with someone who is also non-confrontational. Like, he missed all the important parts of Single White Female and just made a film with pretty girls and then over-sexualized them. It was originally rated R, and then he took out some parts. It took 13 hours to film the shower scene with Ali Machaca.
Crazy.
Yeah. These are young women. Like, totally missed the point. And it's kind of rude. So the Roommate gets a double thumbs down for that.
Rebecca.
Double Rebecca. Yeah, I think there's some points that are good, and Reputation was attempted. But overall, it doesn't need to happen anymore. Single White Female is old news. Those don't exist anymore. And if they do, then they need help. They don't need to be stigmatized and put into the Urban Dictionary as, like, the crazy bitch.
Yeah. And there's just, like, such a stigma against, like, mental illness in general. It's like, you know what'll get you killed? Not dealing with your problems.
Yeah.
It won't get you killed if you're, like, trying to help somebody. And, like, you're calling them out on the fact that, like, they're doing something that's kind of weird. And not, like, judgmental or demeaning way.
Yeah. Just work it out. Talk to each other.
It's like, hey, I actually care about you. And I want you to, like, feel better. And, like, confident in yourself. How can I help? Let's just talk about stuff. Let's have a real connection instead of this, like, creepy, weird connection that we have. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Because guess what? We're both people.
Yeah.
Wild.
So for 2019, if you haven't learned anything, it's one, be yourself. If yourself has some body modifications, fine. If yourself is a bit monstrous, fine. But yourself is not somebody else. So don't do that. Don't be somebody else. Be you. And
be the best you.
Be the best you. Nothing stands between you and your desires. Except maybe yourself. Or this idea of yourself where you're trying to be somebody else.
Yeah. Just be you, man.
Yeah.
Be you.
Well, don't get married.
Delete your kids.
Delete your kids, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bye.
Bye.